Look into the night sky, and it is easy to believe that the universe is an endless invitation. Every star seems to promise another destination. Every galaxy appears to be waiting somewhere in the distance. Yet hidden beneath that vastness is a discovery so strange that it changes the meaning of exploration itself. There is a boundary beyond which nothing can go. Not a spacecraft, not a beam of light, not even information. This limit is not guarded by a force or blocked by a wall. It emerges from the way the universe is built. Beyond it lies an immense realm of existence that continues to unfold forever beyond contact. Tonight, we explore the final boundary, the point where distance becomes impossible, access comes to an end, and the universe reveals that some horizons are not meant to be crossed. Every journey humanity has ever undertaken began with a simple assumption. Somewhere beyond the horizon, there is another place waiting to be reached. That belief guided the first travelers who crossed unfamiliar landscapes. It guided sailors who disappeared beyond the edge of known maps. It guided explorers who ventured into continents that existed only as rumors and possibilities. Later, it guided scientists and engineers who built machines capable of leaving Earth itself. The details changed across centuries, but the underlying idea remained remarkably consistent. If something exists, then a path toward it must also exist. The night sky seems to reinforce that belief. When we look upward, the universe appears open in every direction. Stars shine from distant regions of space. Galaxies fill the darkness far beyond the limits of ordinary vision. Telescopes reveal structures stretching across unimaginable distances. Everything about the cosmos appears to invite exploration. It feels as though the universe is offering an endless collection of destinations, each waiting for future travelers to arrive. Yet hidden beneath that appearance is a discovery that changes the meaning of distance itself. There are directions in the universe that cannot be followed to their conclusion, not because they contain dangerous conditions, not because technology is insufficient, not because civilization has not yet become advanced enough. The reason is far stranger. The universe itself refuses to allow the journey to succeed. This idea is difficult to accept because it conflicts with everyday experience. In ordinary life, distance behaves predictably. A destination may be nearby or far away, but the relationship remains straightforward. Movement reduces separation. Every step decreases the remaining distance. The traveler and the destination move closer together. This pattern is so familiar that it feels like a law of reality. The cosmos reveals that it is not. Imagine standing on a vast plain while looking toward a distant mountain. The mountain appears small because of the separation between you and it, yet every step forward makes it slightly larger. Progress is visible. The destination slowly approaches. Now imagine something different. Imagine that the ground itself begins stretching beneath your feet. You continue walking. You continue moving toward the mountain. Yet the landscape between you and the destination grows at the same time. At first, the effect seems insignificant. The mountain still appears slightly larger. Progress still occurs. Then the stretching becomes stronger. The distance begins increasing almost as quickly as you can reduce it. A strange balance emerges. Every step forward is matched by newly created separation. The mountain stops growing larger. It remains fixed on the horizon. You walk. The destination remains. Nothing changes. Then the stretching becomes even more powerful. The landscape expands faster than your ability to cross it. The mountain begins receding despite your movement. You are not walking in the wrong direction. You are not standing still. The destination is simply being carried away faster than you can approach it. This thought experiment captures one of the most important realities in modern cosmology. The universe contains regions where expansion overwhelms travel. People imagined space as a vast but stable stage. Galaxies moved through it. Stars occupied positions within it. Objects traveled across it. Space itself remained passive. The 20th century revealed a very different picture. The universe is expanding, not merely the objects within it. Space itself, The distances separating distant regions continuously grow. This means that the relationship between traveler and destination is not fixed. The path changes while the journey is taking place. The deeper astronomers studied cosmic expansion, the more surprising the implications became. At sufficiently large scales, some destinations are not merely far away. They are moving into a category where future access becomes impossible. The important detail is that these destinations do not disappear. Galaxies continue existing, stars continue shining, planets continue orbiting, entire histories continue unfolding. Reality remains present. The possibility of arrival does not. This distinction introduces something entirely new into the human understanding of exploration. Traditionally, the unknown represented territory waiting to be discovered. Every blank region on a map implied future opportunity. The destination might require courage, patience, and ingenuity, but it remained available. The cosmic boundary changes that relationship. Some regions of existence are not waiting for future explorers. Some regions have already begun drifting beyond the possibility of contact. The journey does not fail because travelers lack determination. The journey fails because space-time itself changes the rules. One of the strangest aspects of this process is that it creates an invisible direction within the universe, not a direction marked by north, south, east, or west. A direction defined by increasing separation, a direction that leads toward destinations forever retreating beyond reach. Imagine pointing toward a distant galaxy billions of light years away. The galaxy exists. Telescopes can observe it. Light from its past continues arriving at Earth. Yet the future of that galaxy may already belong to a region that no civilization beginning here will ever enter. Its stars remain real. Its future remains real. Its accessibility disappears. The universe quietly transforms a destination into something else, a location that exists without remaining reachable. This idea becomes even more unsettling when we remember that the process is happening now. The cosmic boundary is not waiting billions of years in the future. The separation is already occurring. Every second, expansion creates additional distance. Every year, remote galaxies become slightly more isolated. Every age of cosmic history enlarges the region beyond contact. The universe continuously redraws the map of what can be reached. Human intuition struggles with this because nearly every challenge encountered throughout history eventually yielded to progress. Better ships crossed larger oceans, better vehicles crossed greater distances, better technology expanded the range of possible exploration. The final boundary belongs to a different category. It is not a challenge awaiting a solution. It is a consequence of the universe's architecture. No engine can negotiate with expanding space-time. No future civilization can persuade the cosmos to shorten the path. No traveler can overcome a destination that retreats faster than approaching itself. This realization reveals the deeper meaning behind the direction the universe refuses to let us follow. The refusal is not active. The universe does not block the traveler. The universe does not construct a wall. Instead, reality continuously stretches the path until the concept of arrival loses its meaning. The destination remains visible. The destination remains real. The destination remains forever beyond reach. And once that truth becomes clear, a deeper question emerges. If there exists a direction that cannot be followed to its conclusion, then perhaps the true mystery is not where that direction leads. The true mystery is the hidden limit buried within the structure of space itself. A limit that quietly determines which parts of existence remain connected to us and which parts never will. When most people imagine infinity, they imagine freedom. An infinite ocean seems to offer endless routes. An infinite plane appears to contain unlimited possibilities. An infinite universe feels like the ultimate expression of openness. If space extends forever, then every direction should remain available. Every destination should simply become another point waiting somewhere farther ahead. The concept feels intuitive because infinity appears to remove restrictions rather than create them. Yet one of the strangest discoveries in modern cosmology is that an infinite universe can still contain limits. This sounds impossible. How can something be infinite while also preventing access. How can endless space contain a boundary? The answer lies in the difference between existence and connection. These two ideas often seem identical in everyday life. If something exists, we assume it can eventually be reached. A distant mountain exists, therefore it can be visited. A distant city exists, therefore a traveler can arrive there. The separation may be large, but the path remains available. The universe reveals that existence and accessibility are not the same thing. Something can exist forever while remaining permanently beyond contact. This distinction introduces one of the most unsettling ideas in all of physics. Reality may be vastly larger than the portion capable of interacting with us. To understand why, imagine standing in the middle of an endless desert. The landscape stretches beyond every horizon. No walls surround it, no barriers divide it. The desert appears limitless in every direction. Now imagine that while you walk, the ground itself expands. Every step carries you forward, but additional distance continuously appears between you and the horizon. The desert remains infinite. Your access to it becomes limited. The restriction does not emerge because the desert ends. The restriction emerges because the relationship between you and the rest of the landscape changes. This thought experiment begins to capture the hidden limit buried inside the cosmos. Scientists debated whether the universe was finite or infinite. The question remains one of the most fascinating topics in cosmology. Current observations suggest that the observable universe appears remarkably flat, a result consistent with a cosmos that may extend far beyond the regions we can directly study. Yet regardless of whether the universe ultimately proves finite or infinite, the existence of a cosmic horizon remains. This is what makes the discovery so remarkable. The boundary does not depend upon the size of the universe. The boundary depends upon the ability of information to travel through it. Imagine an enormous library extending beyond sight in every direction. The books continue endlessly. Knowledge fills every shelf. Yet suppose you are allowed to access only a limited section, because every corridor beyond a certain distance continuously grows longer. The library remains vast. The information remains real. Your access becomes restricted. The cosmos appears to function according to a similar principle. The hidden limit is not an edge of reality. It is a limit on communication. Everything humanity knows about the universe arrives through information. Light reaches telescopes. Signals reach instruments. Photons carry messages from distant stars and galaxies. Observation depends entirely upon successful communication across space. Without information, knowledge becomes impossible. Without communication, observation ends. The deeper scientists investigated the structure of the universe, the more they realized that information itself obeys strict limitations. Light travels incredibly fast, faster than anything else known to exist, yet even light requires time. This simple fact changes everything. A photon emitted from a distant galaxy cannot appear instantly on Earth. It must cross the intervening distance. The larger the separation, the longer the journey. This seems straightforward. The farther away something is, the longer its light requires to arrive. But cosmic expansion introduces a complication. The distance does not remain fixed while the photon travels. Space continues expanding. The path itself changes. The message races forward while the universe stretches beneath it. Most of the time, the photon still succeeds. It eventually reaches its destination. At larger scales, however, a remarkable transition occurs. Expansion becomes so significant that newly emitted information can no longer make progress towards certain regions. The message travels. The destination retreats. The connection fails. This is the hidden limit. Not a wall, not a force field, not a physical barrier. A limit created entirely by the geometry of spacetime. What makes the situation even more fascinating is that the limit remains invisible. Human beings evolved to recognize physical boundaries. We notice cliffs, rivers, mountains, and coastlines because they occupy visible locations. The cosmic limit possesses no visible form. A telescope cannot photograph it directly. A spacecraft cannot collide with it. An observer crossing through space would never encounter a physical structure announcing its presence. Yet its effects shape the destiny of the universe. Entire galaxies are influenced by it. Entire regions of existence are defined by it. The limit determines which parts of reality can still participate in a shared future and which parts cannot. Another way to understand this idea is through conversation. Imagine two people standing close enough to speak. Their words travel between them. Communication remains possible. Now imagine that the ground beneath them continuously expands. The separation grows larger and larger. Eventually, voices become too weak. Electronic signals become necessary. Later, even those signals struggle. Finally, the expansion becomes so powerful that no message can successfully complete the journey. The individuals remain. The possibility of communication disappears. The hidden limit emerges at the moment connection becomes impossible. The universe creates similar limits across enormous cosmic distances. Galaxies continue existing. Stars continue shining. History continues unfolding. Yet communication between certain regions gradually ends. The cosmos divides itself into domains of connection and domains of permanent separation. The remarkable aspect of this process is that it occurs regardless of how large the universe actually is. Even an infinite cosmos can contain inaccessible regions. Infinity does not guarantee access. Infinity does not guarantee communication. Infinity does not guarantee exploration. The hidden limit remains. This realization changes the way we think about size. Most people imagine the universe becoming larger simply by containing more space. The true mystery may be far deeper. The universe may be larger because most of its reality exists beyond interaction, beyond communication, beyond influence, beyond the possibility of contact. The hidden limit transforms the cosmos from an open landscape into something far stranger, an immense structure containing regions that remain forever disconnected from one another. A universe where existence extends beyond relationship. A universe where reality exceeds access. The deeper scientists investigate this boundary, the more profound its implications become. It suggests that the observable universe is not the universe itself. It is merely the portion still connected to us. Beyond that connected region stretches an enormous domain that may continue indefinitely. Galaxies may fill it. Stars may illuminate it. Entire histories may unfold within it. Yet none of those events will ever become part of our experience. The universe contains more than observation can reveal, more than exploration can reach, more than communication can connect. And hidden inside that realization lies the true meaning of the final boundary. The limit is not located at the edge of space. The limit is buried within space itself. It emerges naturally from the way the cosmos grows, expands, and carries information across unimaginable distances. And once that hidden limit is understood, another question becomes unavoidable. If such a boundary exists, then perhaps some destinations were never accessible in the first place. There are regions of reality that no traveler could have reached, not because the journey failed, but because the possibility of arrival never truly existed at all. Human beings are accustomed to thinking about unreachable places in a very specific way. A destination appears inaccessible because something prevented the journey. Perhaps the traveler lacked sufficient time. Perhaps the technology did not yet exist. Perhaps the route was dangerous, expensive, or unknown. In every case, the assumption remains the same. The destination itself was always reachable in principle. The failure belonged to the traveler, not to the path. This assumption feels natural because it matches almost every challenge humanity has ever faced. Before aircraft existed, crossing oceans required months of dangerous travel. Before rockets existed, reaching the moon seemed impossible. Before powerful telescopes were built, distant galaxies remained invisible. Yet in each case, the obstacle eventually yielded to new knowledge. The destination waited patiently while civilization developed the tools necessary to reach it. The cosmos contains a far stranger category of destination. There are places that were never reachable, not difficult to reach, not waiting for better technology, not waiting for a more advanced civilization, never reachable at all. This idea is one of the most unsettling consequences of modern cosmology because it challenges a deeply rooted belief about exploration itself. We tend to imagine the universe as a giant landscape. Some regions may be nearby and others extremely distant, but every location seems to belong to the same connected reality. Given enough time, every path should eventually lead somewhere. The universe appears to disagree. To understand why, imagine standing at the edge of a river. On the opposite shore lies a distant city. You can see its buildings, you know it exists, yet the river widens continuously while you attempt to cross. Every stroke forward is matched by additional separation. No matter how determined you become, the opposite shore remains beyond reach. Most people would describe this as a failed journey. Cosmology suggests something even more surprising. The journey was impossible before it began. The destination was never truly connected to the traveler through a path that could be completed. The appearance of possibility was an illusion. This distinction is important because it changes the nature of the cosmic boundary. The final boundary is not merely a limit encountered during exploration. In some cases, it reveals that exploration was never possible in the first place. The reason lies in the history of the expanding universe. When people hear that the universe is expanding, they often imagine a process that began long ago and simply continues today. While this description is broadly correct, it hides an extraordinary detail. The expansion of space-time has been shaping relationships between distant regions since the earliest stages of cosmic history. This means that accessibility has never been universal. Even billions of years ago, some regions were already moving toward permanent separation. The cosmos was not waiting for a future boundary to emerge. The boundary was present from the beginning, quietly influencing which parts of reality could ever remain connected. Imagine drawing countless dots on the surface of an inflating balloon. As the balloon expands, every dot moves farther away from every other dot. Nearby points remain relatively close. Distant points separate more dramatically. Now imagine that communication between dots depends upon messages traveling across the surface. Some messages succeed, others arrive too late. Still others never arrive at all because the distance grows too rapidly. The dots continue existing. Their ability to interact changes. The universe behaves in a similar way. From the earliest moments of cosmic expansion, certain regions were already becoming separated by the evolving geometry of space-time. The consequences of this process become profound when viewed from the perspective of travel. Human intuition assumes that distance and accessibility are closely related. A destination seems reachable if it is sufficiently close and unreachable if it is sufficiently far. Cosmology reveals a different picture. Accessibility depends not only on distance but also on how distance changes over time. A galaxy may be farther away than another galaxy while remaining more accessible. A closer region may become inaccessible sooner if expansion affects the relationship differently. The crucial factor is not merely where something is. The crucial factor is how space-time evolves between observer and destination. This is what creates the possibility of places that were never reachable. Certain regions entered cosmic history already destined for permanent separation. No future spacecraft could bridge the gap. No future civilization could establish contact. No future message could complete the journey. The path itself never existed in a form that allowed arrival. One of the strangest aspects of this realization is that visibility and reachability are not the same thing. Human beings naturally associate seeing something with the possibility of reaching it. A mountain visible on the horizon can eventually be climbed. A distant island visible from shore can eventually be visited. The universe breaks this connection. Astronomers routinely observe galaxies whose light reaches Earth, despite the fact that those galaxies may already occupy regions permanently beyond future contact. The reason is that the light began its journey long ago. The photons arriving today belong to the past. The galaxy's present condition belongs to a future that may never intersect with ours. This creates a remarkable situation. We can receive messages from destinations that we could never visit. We can observe regions that no traveler from Earth could ever enter. The universe allows information from their history to reach us, while preventing any future interaction. The deeper scientists studied cosmic horizons, the more widespread this phenomenon appeared. The observable universe contains enormous numbers of galaxies, yet observation does not imply accessibility. Many of these galaxies belong to regions whose future is already separating from ours. Their stars remain real. Their planets remain real. Their histories remain real. The possibility of arrival does not. This realization forces a redefinition of exploration. For most of history, exploration meant reducing ignorance. The unknown represented territory awaiting discovery. Maps improved because explorers reached previously inaccessible places. The final boundary introduces a category of reality that remains beyond the reach of exploration itself, not because explorers are insufficiently capable, because the structure of the universe does not permit connection. Reality contains destinations without routes, locations without paths, histories without future contact, and perhaps the most extraordinary aspect of all is that these destinations are not rare exceptions hidden at the edge of existence. They appear to be woven throughout the cosmos. The universe contains countless regions that continue evolving independently of anything humanity will ever do. Entire galaxies may spend trillions of years producing stars and planets without ever sharing another moment of interaction with our region of reality. Their future unfolds. Our future unfolds. The two stories continue separately. The idea becomes even more profound when we remember that these regions belong to the same universe. They are not alternate realities. They are not separate dimensions. They are part of the same cosmic structure that contains Earth, the Sun, and every galaxy we observe. Yet they remain permanently beyond access. This is why the final boundary is so difficult to comprehend. It reveals that existence is larger than connectivity, larger than communication, larger than travel. The cosmos contains more than can ever participate in a shared future, and hidden within that realization lies an even deeper mystery. If some destinations were never reachable at all, then perhaps the greatest obstacle was never distance itself. Perhaps the true challenge is the growing separation between us and the rest of the universe, a separation that continues increasing with every passing moment of cosmic time. There is a quiet process unfolding across the universe at this very moment, and almost nobody notices it. It produces no sound, it creates no flashes of light. It does not announce itself through explosions, collisions, or dramatic cosmic events. Yet it may be one of the most important processes shaping the future of reality. Every second, the universe increases the separation between distant regions of existence. Galaxies drift farther apart. Cosmic structures become more isolated. Vast portions of the cosmos slowly move away from one another. The process is so gradual that it cannot be seen during a human lifetime, yet over billions of years it changes the architecture of reality itself. What makes this phenomenon extraordinary is that it does not behave like ordinary motion. When people imagine objects moving apart, they usually picture movement through space. A car drives away down a road, a ship sails away across the ocean, a spacecraft leaves a planet and disappears into the darkness. In each case, the objects move while the surrounding space remains unchanged. The universe behaves differently. The galaxies are not simply moving through a fixed cosmic landscape. The landscape itself is changing. Space expands. Distances grow. The geometry of reality evolves. This distinction may seem subtle, but it transforms the meaning of separation. Imagine drawing two dots on a rubber sheet. If the sheet stretches, the dots move farther apart, even though neither dot actively travels across the surface. The expansion of the sheet creates the separation. Something similar occurs throughout the cosmos. On the largest scales, space-time itself stretches, increasing the distances between distant galaxies. For much of human history, nobody suspected this was happening. The night sky appeared stable, The stars maintained familiar patterns. The universe seemed eternal and unchanging. Even after telescopes revealed countless galaxies beyond the Milky Way, many scientists still assumed the cosmos existed within a largely static framework. Then one of the most revolutionary discoveries in science changed everything. Astronomers found evidence that distant galaxies were moving away from us. More remarkably, the farther away a galaxy appeared, the faster it seemed to recede. This observation revealed that expansion was not a local phenomenon. It was woven into the structure of the universe itself. Reality was growing. Distances were increasing. The cosmos was evolving on scales almost impossible to imagine. Many researchers assumed that gravity would eventually slow this process. Gravity pulls matter together. Galaxies attract one another. Massive structures resist separation. It seemed reasonable to expect that cosmic expansion might gradually weaken over time. The universe had another surprise waiting. Toward the end of the 20th century, astronomers discovered that expansion is not slowing down. It is accelerating. The separation between distant regions is increasing at an ever-growing rate. The cosmos is not merely expanding, it is expanding faster as time passes. This discovery transformed the meaning of the cosmic boundary. The final boundary is not simply a fixed limit sitting somewhere in the distance. It is connected to a process that continuously changes the relationships between regions of space. The universe does not merely contain separation, it manufactures separation. Every passing moment adds more. To appreciate how strange this is, imagine living in a city where every road gradually lengthens while people travel along it. A destination that once required an hour eventually requires 2 hours. Later it requires 10. Eventually the roads grow faster than travelers can cross them. The city remains intact. The neighborhoods remain real. The possibility of connection slowly disappears. The expanding universe creates an analogous situation on cosmic scales. Galaxies that once shared a future of possible interaction become increasingly isolated. The route between them continuously grows. The relationship changes. The separation deepens. What makes this especially fascinating is that the process affects the future more than the present. Human beings often focus on what exists now. We observe galaxies as they appear today. We measure distances as they exist today. We construct maps of the observable universe as it appears today. The cosmos is already creating a different future. Every year, distant regions become slightly more disconnected. Every century increases the separation. Every million years strengthens the divide. The transformation is slow enough to escape direct notice, yet powerful enough to reshape the destiny of entire galaxies. Consider a photon beginning its journey from a distant galaxy. The photon travels at the fastest speed nature permits. Nothing moves faster. If any messenger should overcome cosmic distance, it should be light. Yet even light must contend with expansion. While the photon travels, space-time continues stretching. The path changes beneath it. The destination remains in motion relative to the expanding universe. For nearby regions, the photon succeeds. For sufficiently distant regions, the situation becomes more complicated. The message struggles against a constantly growing separation. Eventually, there are distances where newly emitted light can never complete the journey. The photon moves forever. The destination remains forever beyond contact. This is one of the most extraordinary consequences of the expanding cosmos. The universe creates situations where communication itself becomes impossible. Not because messages stop traveling, because separation grows too effectively. The result is a gradual fragmentation of the observable universe. Not fragmentation in the sense of destruction, not fragmentation through violence. Fragmentation through isolation. Different regions continue existing while losing the ability to influence one another. The deeper scientists explored this idea, the more profound its implications became. Human beings often think of the universe as a single connected system. In many ways it is. The same laws of physics operate everywhere. The same cosmic history contributed to its formation. The same Big Bang influenced every observable region. Yet connectivity is not guaranteed forever. Expansion separation alters the network. Connections weaken, distances grow, opportunities for future interaction disappear. Imagine two civilizations living in galaxies separated by enormous distances. Today, communication might already be impossible because of the cosmic scales involved. Yet in principle, one might imagine a sufficiently advanced future civilization attempting contact. The expanding universe changes that possibility. Some regions move beyond any future exchange of information. The civilizations remain. Their futures separate permanently. The universe quietly turns neighbors into strangers. Another remarkable aspect of this process is that it happens regardless of observation. The separation does not depend on whether anyone measures it. It does not depend on whether intelligent life exists. Long before Earth formed, distant galaxies were already drifting apart. Long after humanity disappears, the process will continue. The cosmos follows its own evolution. The expanding separation is not a feature of human understanding. It is a feature of reality itself. This realization changes how we think about the scale of existence. People often imagine a larger universe as one containing more stars, more galaxies, and more space. The final boundary reveals another dimension of size. A universe becomes larger when increasing portions of it become inaccessible. Reality exceeds connection. Reality exceeds communication. Reality exceeds travel. The cosmos contains more than any observer can ever participate in, and that excess grows with time. The most unsettling aspect of all may be the fact that this process has no visible edge. No wall marks the transition. No physical barrier announces that a region has crossed into permanent isolation. The galaxies continue shining. The stars continue burning. The structures remain visible for immense periods. Yet beneath that familiar appearance, the future relationship changes. The universe quietly redraws the map of what can and cannot remain connected. Every moment, the separation grows. Every moment, the final boundary becomes more significant. Every moment, additional regions move closer to a future where no signal, no traveler, and no information will ever bridge the gap again. And hidden inside that growing separation lies an even stranger realization. The universe is not merely creating distance. It is creating regions that occupy a strange position between presence and absence, places that still exist, yet have already begun slipping beyond the possibility of meaningful contact. Places that force us to ask where reality ends for us, even though it never ends for itself. When people imagine something escaping, they usually picture movement. A prisoner escapes by running away. An animal escapes by leaving its enclosure. A spacecraft escapes a planet by accelerating beyond the pull of gravity. In every case, escape involves an object actively moving away from something else. There is a clear beginning, a clear direction, and a clear separation between the thing escaping and the place being left behind. The universe creates a far stranger form of escape. Entire galaxies are slipping away forever, yet they are not fleeing through space in the ordinary sense. They are not engines racing into the darkness. They are not cosmic ships setting a course toward distant horizons. Instead, the fabric of space-time itself is carrying them toward a future where contact becomes impossible. This distinction is important because it reveals how different the cosmic boundary truly is. The galaxies are not choosing to leave. Nothing is pushing them away like a forceful wind. The separation emerges naturally from the expansion of the universe. Reality itself creates the conditions under which escape becomes unavoidable. To understand how remarkable this is, imagine standing in a crowded city square. People surround you in every direction. Communication is easy, travel is easy, relationships exist because distance remains manageable. Now imagine that the ground beneath every person begins expanding. Not violently, not suddenly, quietly and continuously. Nobody notices. The distances increase only slightly. Conversations continue. Connections remain intact. Yet as time passes, the separation grows. People who were once nearby drift farther apart. Communication becomes more difficult. Journeys require more effort. Eventually, entire groups become isolated from one another. The city still exists. The people still exist. The network connecting them begins to dissolve. The universe behaves in a surprisingly similar way. Galaxies occupy a cosmic landscape shaped by expansion. Long ago, many of these galaxies existed within a universe far smaller than the one we observe today. Distances were shorter. Regions that now appear unimaginably separated were once much closer together. The cosmos was dense, energetic, and compact compared to its present state. As billions of years passed, expansion altered those relationships. The universe grew. Distances increased. Galaxies drifted farther apart. The changes seemed straightforward. More space simply meant more separation. Yet the deeper scientists studied cosmic expansion, the more extraordinary the situation became. The universe was not merely expanding, the expansion was accelerating. This discovery transformed the future of countless galaxies. Acceleration means that separation grows increasingly effective with time. The cosmic gap does not simply become larger, it becomes larger at an ever-increasing rate. The result is a universe that continuously strengthens the divide between distant regions. Imagine throwing a ball away from yourself. Normally, gravity slows the ball. Eventually, its speed decreases. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine the ball somehow gains speed as it travels. The farther it moves, the faster it recedes. The separation grows more dramatic with every passing moment. This captures part of what acceleration does to the large-scale universe. Galaxies already moving away become increasingly isolated. The cosmic gulf widens more effectively. Future interaction becomes less likely. The remarkable consequence is that some galaxies are already crossing a threshold beyond which they can never return. This threshold is not marked by a visible boundary. No line appears in space. No warning signal flashes across the cosmos. The transition occurs silently. A galaxy remains visible. Its stars continue shining. Its structure appears unchanged. Yet its future relationship with us has fundamentally altered. The galaxy begins slipping into a region where no future communication can succeed. This idea is difficult to grasp because human intuition treats visibility and accessibility as closely related. If something can be seen, it feels reachable in principle. A mountain on the horizon can be climbed. A distant island can be visited. Even if the journey requires enormous effort, the destination remains part of the same accessible world. The cosmos breaks this assumption. A galaxy can remain visible while already becoming unreachable. The reason lies in the nature of light. When astronomers observe distant galaxies, they are looking into the past. The light arriving today often began its journey millions or billions of years ago. The photons reaching telescopes tell a story about what those galaxies were, not necessarily what they are now. This creates one of the strangest situations in science. The past remains visible. The future escapes. We continue receiving messages that began their journeys long ago while losing access to the events occurring there today. Imagine receiving letters from a friend who departed many years ago. The letters continue arriving because they were written and sent in the past, yet no new letters can be exchanged. Communication has effectively ended. The relationship survives only through messages already in transit. Something similar happens throughout the cosmos. The universe allows us to receive ancient information from galaxies whose futures are already separating from ours. The galaxies remain part of reality. Their future becomes inaccessible. The deeper implication is even more unsettling. Galaxies are not merely escaping observation, they are escaping influence. A reachable region of the universe can still interact with us. Information can travel between locations. Future events can affect one another. Causal relationships remain possible. An escaping galaxy gradually loses that connection. Its future no longer intersects with ours. Its history continues independently. Its stars are born and die without ever influencing our region of reality again. This reveals something profound about the final boundary. The boundary is not primarily about travel. It is about relationships. It determines which regions remain participants in a shared cosmic future and which become permanently isolated. Every escaping galaxy represents a future that drifts away from ours, not because the galaxy ceases to exist, not because it vanishes into nothingness, because the expanding universe removes the possibility of connection. Another remarkable aspect of this process is that it affects enormous numbers of galaxies. People sometimes imagine cosmic horizons as distant curiosities involving only the most remote structures. The reality is far more dramatic. The observable universe contains countless galaxies that are gradually moving toward permanent separation. The process unfolds on timescales far longer than human history. No individual observer can watch a galaxy visibly cross the boundary, yet the mathematics describing expansion leaves little doubt about the overall trend. The future universe becomes increasingly fragmented, not fragmented through destruction, fragmented through isolation. Galaxies continue existing while losing access to one another. The cosmos slowly transforms into a collection of disconnected domains. This future becomes even more striking when we imagine observers living trillions of years from now. Many of the galaxies visible today will no longer be accessible. Their light may have faded beyond detection. Their histories may belong entirely to regions beyond contact. Future civilizations could inhabit a universe that appears dramatically smaller than the one we observe today, not because reality became smaller, because more of reality escaped. The galaxies did not disappear. The connection disappeared. This distinction may be the most important lesson hidden inside the final boundary. Escape does not require movement through space. Escape can occur through the evolution of space-time itself. The universe continuously creates additional separation. Some regions remain connected, others drift away forever. The galaxies continue shining. The galaxies continue evolving. The galaxies continue existing, yet every passing moment carries some of them deeper into a realm where no signal, no traveler, and no future interaction can ever bridge the gap again. They belong to the same universe. They no longer belong to the same future. And as those galaxies continue escaping beyond contact, an even stranger question emerges. What exactly separates a region that remains part of our accessible reality from one that has effectively vanished from our future? What is the strange boundary between presence and absence, where something can still exist while already becoming unreachable? Because that boundary may reveal one of the most subtle and unsettling features of the universe itself. Most boundaries separate one thing from another. A coastline separates land from sea. A doorway separates one room from the next. A horizon separates what can currently be seen from what remains hidden beyond sight. These boundaries feel familiar because both sides remain easy to understand. Something exists here, something else exists there. The line between them may be important, but the distinction itself is clear. The universe contains a boundary that behaves very differently. It separates regions that still exist from regions that still exist. It separates places that remain real from places that remain real, yet somehow, one side continues participating in our future, while the other does not. This creates one of the strangest concepts in all of cosmology, a boundary between presence and absence, where nothing actually disappears. The idea sounds contradictory. How can something be absent if it still exists? How can a galaxy be present and absent at the same time? The answer lies in understanding that presence is not merely a matter of existence. Presence is also a matter of connection. A distant star is present in your experience because its light reaches you. A nearby planet is present because information can travel between it and Earth. Even a galaxy billions of light years away remains present in a meaningful sense because photons from that galaxy continue arriving at our telescopes. The relationship creates presence. Communication creates presence. The exchange of information creates presence. Without those connections, existence becomes something very different. Imagine receiving a live radio broadcast from a distant city. As long as the signal arrives, that city feels connected to your experience. News, music, voices, and events become part of your awareness. Now imagine the signal gradually weakening. Static begins to interfere. Fragments of information disappear. Eventually, the broadcast falls silent. The city still exists. The people still live there. The streets still contain movement and activity. Yet from your perspective, something has changed. The city has moved from presence into absence. Not because it vanished, because the connection vanished. The cosmic boundary operates according to a remarkably similar principle. The observable universe is not merely a collection of objects. It is a network of relationships maintained through information. Light arrives from the stars. Radiation arrives from distant galaxies. Signals move through space-time, carrying evidence of events occurring across immense distances. As long as information can travel successfully, the regions involved remain connected. They remain present to one another. The final boundary marks the place where that connection begins to fail. What makes this especially fascinating is that the transition happens gradually rather than suddenly. A galaxy does not instantly disappear when it approaches a cosmic horizon. No dramatic event occurs. No cosmic curtain falls. The galaxy remains visible. Its stars continue shining. Its structure remains intact. Yet something subtle begins changing. The future relationship between that galaxy and us starts weakening. The present slowly drifts toward absence. This idea becomes easier to understand when thinking about light itself. Everything humans know about the distant universe arrives through light. Every image produced by a telescope depends upon photons crossing enormous stretches of space-time. The universe reveals itself through successful communication. But light requires time. A photon emitted from a distant galaxy today does not arrive instantly. It begins a journey that may last millions or billions of years. During that journey, the universe continues expanding. The path changes. The separation grows. The geometry evolves. For nearby galaxies, the effect is relatively small. For extremely distant regions, the effect becomes profound. The expansion eventually reaches a point where newly emitted light can no longer make meaningful progress toward us. The photons continue traveling. The source continues existing. The connection begins breaking down. This creates a remarkable situation. We continue receiving ancient messages from a galaxy while losing access to its current reality. The past remains present. The present becomes absent. Imagine watching a recording of someone who is still alive but permanently unreachable. You can see their earlier actions. You can hear their earlier words. Yet no new communication can occur. Their past remains available, while their current experience becomes inaccessible. Something similar happens throughout the cosmos. Many of the galaxies observed today are represented by ancient light. The information arriving at Earth may have begun its journey billions of years ago. We see a historical version of those galaxies. Their present condition occupies a different relationship to us. That separation grows. The past remains visible. The future slips away. The deeper scientists studied cosmic horizons. The more extraordinary this realization became. The universe does not organize reality into simple categories of existence and non-existence. It creates layers of accessibility. Some regions remain fully connected. Some remain partially connected through ancient information. Some become entirely disconnected from future interaction. The galaxies themselves do not change categories. The relationships do. This is why the boundary between presence and absence feels so strange. Nothing physical marks it. No visible structure defines it. The boundary exists within communication itself. It exists within the ability of information to move between regions of space-time. A galaxy beyond the boundary is not gone. It is simply no longer part of a shared future. The distinction may sound subtle, yet its implications are enormous. Human beings naturally associate reality with experience. We think of something as present because it can affect us. We can see it, measure it, learn about it, interact with it. The cosmic boundary reveals that reality extends beyond those conditions. Existence does not require participation. Existence does not require observation. Existence does not require accessibility. Entire regions of the universe continue unfolding whether or not they remain connected to us. This realization changes how we think about absence itself. Ordinarily, absence implies emptiness. If something is absent, we imagine that it is no longer there. The universe introduces a different possibility. Something can be absent from experience while remaining fully present within reality. A galaxy can continue producing stars. A planetary system can continue evolving. A civilization could theoretically continue developing. Yet all of it may occur beyond the possibility of future contact. The events remain real. The connection disappears. Another fascinating aspect of this process is that the boundary evolves over time. The universe does not maintain a fixed division between presence and absence. Expansion continuously alters the relationship. Regions that remain connected today may become disconnected in the distant future. The accessible cosmos gradually contracts relative to the total universe, not because reality shrinks, because communication becomes increasingly limited. The final boundary therefore acts less like a wall and more like a moving frontier. A frontier separating shared existence from isolated existence, shared futures from separate futures, mutual influence from permanent independence. The deeper implication may be the most profound of all. Humanity often imagines the observable universe as the universe itself. The cosmic boundary reminds us that what we observe is only the portion still participating in our story. Beyond that boundary stretches a reality that remains present to itself while becoming absent to us. Galaxies continue moving, stars continue burning, history continues unfolding. Entire chapters of cosmic evolution continue without interruption. Yet none of those events will ever become part of our future experience. The universe quietly creates a domain where existence persists without connection, a realm where reality remains fully alive, while slipping beyond every possible exchange of information. And hidden within that realization lies another mystery. If the cosmos naturally creates regions that become absent without ceasing to exist, then perhaps the final boundary is not simply separating places. It is separating entire futures. Futures that will never meet again. Futures that continue unfolding forever on opposite sides of a horizon that nothing, not spacecraft, not light, not even information itself, can ever cross. The most unsettling discoveries in modern cosmology is that the universe does not merely contain distant places. It creates separation so profound that entire regions of reality become permanently disconnected from one another. This is not a temporary condition. It is not a technological challenge waiting for a solution. It is not a problem that future civilizations will overcome with better spacecraft or more advanced physics. The separation emerges naturally from the structure of the cosmos itself. This raises an extraordinary question. Why does reality create regions beyond all contact? Why should a universe governed by the same physical laws divide itself into domains that can never communicate? Why should galaxies belonging to the same cosmos become forever inaccessible to one another? The idea seems almost unreasonable. Human intuition expects reality to remain connected. We assume that if two places exist within the same universe, some relationship must remain possible between them. The distance may be enormous, the journey may require impossible amounts of time, yet the possibility of interaction feels fundamental. The universe reveals something very different. Existence does not guarantee connection. Reality can remain unified, while communication disappears. The cosmos can contain regions that belong to the same structure, yet occupy entirely separate futures. To understand why this happens, it helps to think about what contact actually means. Contact is more than physical arrival. Contact requires the exchange of information. A conversation requires words traveling between people. Observation requires light reaching an observer. Influence requires signals moving from one location to another. Every relationship in the universe depends upon information crossing space. Without information, interaction becomes impossible. Without interaction, connection disappears. The deeper scientists studied reality, the more they realized that information is not free to travel without limits. Information obeys rules. It moves through space-time. It requires time. It cannot instantly appear at distant locations. This simple fact becomes profound when combined with an expanding universe. Imagine two people standing on opposite sides of a field. Communication is easy. Their voices cross the distance. They exchange information. A relationship exists because messages can travel successfully. Now imagine the field slowly expanding. Nothing changes. Voices still reach their destination. Communication continues, yet the separation grows. The distance becomes larger. The effort required to maintain contact increases. If expansion continues long enough, a threshold eventually appears. The field becomes so large that communication fails. The people still exist, the field still exists, the relationship disappears. The universe creates cosmic versions of this situation on scales almost impossible to comprehend. Galaxies are separated not merely by distance but by space-time itself. As expansion accelerates, communication between distant regions becomes increasingly difficult. Light must cross larger and larger gaps. Signals must traverse a universe whose geometry continuously evolves. Some regions become separated by more than distance. They become separated by destiny. The possibility of future interaction vanishes. What makes this realization so remarkable is that the process is not caused by an obstacle placed between regions. There is no wall floating through space. No force field blocks communication. No cosmic barrier intercepts messages. The separation emerges naturally from the behavior of space-time. Reality creates isolation through its own expansion. This distinction is crucial because it reveals that the final boundary is not an object. It is a consequence. The universe does not actively prevent contact. The universe simply evolves in a way that makes contact impossible. Imagine drawing points on the surface of a balloon. As the balloon inflates, the points move farther apart. None of the points are responsible for the separation. The surface itself changes. The cosmos behaves similarly. Galaxies do not choose isolation. Space-time creates it. The deeper implication is even more fascinating. Regions beyond contact are not empty. Human intuition often associates inaccessibility with absence. If something lies beyond communication, it is easy to imagine that nothing exists there. The universe offers no support for this assumption. Beyond every cosmic horizon, reality continues. Stars continue shining. Galaxies continue evolving. Planetary systems continue forming. Physical processes continue unfolding according to the same laws operating within our own region of space. The difference is not existence. The difference is the relationship. A region beyond contact remains real while becoming permanently disconnected. This idea changes how we think about the meaning of the universe. Traditionally, a universe is imagined as a single connected whole. Every part belongs to the same cosmic story. Different regions may be separated by enormous distances, yet they still participate in a shared reality. Modern cosmology suggests a more subtle picture. The universe may remain one structure while containing countless isolated domains. A single reality can produce multiple regions that never communicate. The same cosmos can generate separate futures. The same laws can govern locations that never influence one another again. This possibility becomes easier to appreciate when considering the future of the observable universe. Billions of years from now, many galaxies visible today will have drifted beyond communication. Their light will no longer arrive. Their future events will no longer influence observers in our region of space. To those future observers, the universe will appear smaller, not because reality shrank, because contact disappeared. Entire portions of existence will remain beyond awareness. The galaxies continue existing. The connection does not. The process resembles watching ships disappear over an expanding horizon. The ships remain real, their journeys continue, yet communication eventually fails. The horizon does not destroy them, it removes them from the relationship. The cosmic boundary performs a similar function. It does not erase reality, it removes access to reality. This distinction may be one of the most important lessons hidden inside the final boundary. Reality is larger than communication, larger than observation, larger than influence. Human beings naturally experience existence through connection. We learn about the universe because information reaches us. We understand distant galaxies because light carries their history across space. We build knowledge through successful communication with the cosmos. The final boundary reveals that communication occupies only a portion of reality. Beyond that portion stretches an immense domain that remains forever outside the network of contact. The universe contains more than can ever participate in our experience, more than can ever exchange information with us, more than can ever become part of our future. Perhaps the most extraordinary aspect of all is that this process never truly stops. Expansion continues, separation grows, additional regions cross beyond communication. The accessible universe gradually becomes a smaller fraction of total existence. Reality continuously creates new domains of isolation, not through destruction, not through disappearance, through separation, through the quiet evolution of space-time itself. The result is a cosmos where entire regions remain permanently beyond all contact. Regions that continue their histories independently, regions that belong to the same universe while never sharing another moment of interaction with ours. And hidden within that realization lies an even deeper mystery. If reality naturally creates domains that can never communicate, then perhaps there is a point where exploration itself reaches its absolute limit, a point where no traveler, no message, and no observation can proceed any farther. A point where the idea of discovery encounters its final horizon. A point where exploration permanently ends. Human history can be described as a story of horizons. Every age inherited a boundary and then attempted to cross it. Early travelers looked beyond rivers and wondered what existed on the other side. Sailors stared across oceans and imagined lands hidden beyond the horizon. Astronomers pointed primitive instruments toward the heavens and sought answers concealed within distant points of light. With every generation, the horizon moved. The unknown retreated. What once seemed unreachable eventually became familiar. This pattern became so deeply woven into human thinking that it shaped our understanding of exploration itself. A horizon was never treated as a final limit. A horizon was simply the beginning of another journey. The edge of a map invited expansion. The edge of knowledge invited investigation. The edge of experience invited discovery. Again and again, humanity learned the same lesson. The horizon appears permanent until someone reaches it. Then a new horizon appears farther away. The universe contains a boundary that challenges this entire way of thinking. Modern cosmology suggests the existence of a horizon that is not waiting to be crossed. A horizon that does not move aside when approached. A horizon that represents not the beginning of another journey, but the end of all possible journeys. This idea feels almost unnatural because it conflicts with one of humanity's most powerful assumptions. We instinctively believe that every limit is temporary. Given enough intelligence, enough patience, and enough technological progress, another path will eventually reveal itself. The final boundary offers no such promise. It is not a challenge awaiting a solution. It is a feature of reality itself. To understand why, imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean. A distant island lies far beyond sight. The journey would be difficult, but the destination remains reachable in principle. A larger ship, a better navigation system, or a more determined crew could eventually arrive. Now imagine a different ocean, an ocean whose surface expands continuously. Every kilometer traveled creates additional kilometers ahead. The destination remains real. The traveler remains capable. The route itself becomes impossible. No matter how long the journey continues, the destination never grows closer. The path expands faster than it can be crossed. This is the essential nature of the cosmic horizon. The obstacle is not weakness. The obstacle is geometry. The obstacle is the evolving structure of space-time. Exploration was limited by technology. The stars seemed unreachable because human beings lacked the means to travel among them. The planets appeared distant because no spacecraft existed. Entire galaxies belonged to imagination because telescopes had not yet revealed their true nature. These limitations eventually yielded to innovation. The cosmic boundary belongs to a completely different category. The universe does not challenge explorers to build a better vehicle. The universe reveals that certain destinations cannot be reached regardless of the vehicle. This distinction transforms the meaning of exploration. Traditionally, Exploration involved moving farther into reality. The final boundary reveals regions of reality that remain forever beyond movement itself. Consider what exploration actually requires. A traveler must move toward a destination. Information must travel between locations. Cause and effect must connect events across space. Every successful journey depends upon maintaining a relationship between origin and destination. The final boundary destroys that relationship, not through force, not through obstruction, through separation. The destination recedes into a future disconnected from the traveler. This may seem like a matter of extreme distance. It is not. Distance alone can always be imagined as a challenge of scale. The true issue is that the distance grows while the journey occurs. The traveler advances. The universe creates additional separation. Progress becomes meaningless. The destination remains forever beyond arrival. This realization introduces a remarkable concept. There exists a region of reality where exploration loses its definition. Normally, exploration implies the possibility of discovery through direct encounter. A traveler reaches a destination, observes it, studies it, and becomes part of its history. Beyond the final boundary, that process fails. The destination may still exist. The possibility of encounter disappears. The region remains real while becoming permanently inaccessible. This means there are parts of the universe that no future civilization will ever experience directly. Not because those civilizations lack ambition, not because they lack intelligence, because reality itself prevents the meeting. The deeper scientists investigated cosmic expansion, the more profound this conclusion became. The observable universe is not merely a region containing galaxies. It is a region defined by communication. Everything inside it remains connected through the possibility of exchanging information. Everything beyond the final horizon occupies a different category. Information emitted there can never reach us. Information emitted here can never reach it. The exchange ends. The relationship ends. The possibility of exploration ends. What makes this especially unsettling is that the universe continues beyond the boundary. If the horizon marked the edge of existence, the situation would feel simpler. One could imagine reality stopping there. The mystery would be resolved by absence. The universe offers no such comfort. Beyond the horizon lies more reality, more galaxies, more stars, more cosmic history, more events unfolding across unimaginable expanses of space and time. The final boundary does not separate existence from non-existence. It separates participation from non-participation. It separates accessible reality from inaccessible reality. This distinction changes how we think about knowledge itself. For most of human history, ignorance was viewed as temporary. What remained unknown today could become known tomorrow. Every unanswered question carried the possibility of eventual resolution. The final boundary introduces a different possibility. Some aspects of reality may remain permanently beyond direct investigation, not because knowledge failed, because contact failed. The information never arrives. The observation never occurs. The encounter never happens. The universe contains regions that continue their histories independently of anything we will ever learn through direct exploration. Imagine reading a book while knowing that entire chapters have been permanently sealed. The chapters still exist, the story continues within them. Characters act, events unfold, histories develop, yet the pages can never be opened. The reader remains forever separated from that portion of the narrative. The unreachable universe resembles those hidden chapters. Reality continues writing its story. The possibility of reading it disappears. This realization becomes even more dramatic when considered across cosmic timescales. Billions of years from now, more galaxies will cross beyond communication. More regions will become inaccessible. More of the universe will withdraw beyond contact. The horizon does not remain fixed. It continuously reshapes the future. The domain available to exploration gradually becomes a smaller fraction of total existence. Reality expands. Access contracts. The contrast grows stronger with time. The deepest implication of all is that exploration, one of humanity's oldest instincts, may possess an ultimate limit. For thousands of years, Every frontier yielded another frontier. Every horizon revealed another horizon. Every destination led to another destination. The final boundary breaks the pattern. It represents a place where the chain ends. Not because explorers stop searching, not because curiosity disappears, but because reality itself contains regions that cannot become destinations. The universe creates a horizon that remains forever ahead, forever unreachable, forever beyond participation. And that is what makes it the final boundary. Not the edge of space, not the edge of time, not the edge of existence, the edge of exploration itself. The point where the cosmos reveals that some journeys do not fail because travelers are insufficient. Some journeys fail because the structure of reality never allowed them to succeed. And beyond that ultimate horizon lies an even more astonishing mystery, a vast realm of existence stretching beyond the last reachable boundary, a domain where galaxies continue evolving, stars continue shining, and cosmic history continues unfolding in regions no observer from Earth will ever enter. A realm that forces us to ask one final question: what exactly exists beyond the last reachable horizon? Every horizon in human history has inspired the same question: what lies beyond it? When ancient sailors looked toward the edge of the sea, they wondered what existed beyond the visible line where water met sky. When explorers crossed mountain ranges and entered unfamiliar lands, they asked what waited beyond the next ridge. When astronomers first turned telescopes toward the heavens, they asked what existed beyond the stars visible to the naked eye. Again and again, the answer was the same. Beyond the horizon was more reality, more land, more oceans, more stars, more worlds. The horizon never marked the end of existence. It merely marked the limit of current access. The final cosmic boundary appears to follow the same pattern, yet it carries the idea to a scale so immense that it changes how we think about reality itself. Because once we understand that there are regions no traveler can ever reach, another question immediately emerges: what exists beyond them? What lies beyond the last destination that any civilization from Earth could ever hope to visit? What continues beyond the final reachable horizon? At first, the answer seems obvious: more universe. Yet that simple answer conceals one of the most astonishing implications in all of cosmology. The universe beyond the horizon is not empty. It is not a dark void. It is not a region where reality gradually fades away. Everything scientists understand about cosmic expansion suggests the opposite. Beyond the last reachable horizon, reality continues almost exactly as it does here. Galaxies drift through space. Stars ignite within enormous clouds of gas. Planets form around young suns. Black holes grow and merge. Light travels across cosmic distances. The laws of physics continue operating. Time continues moving forward. History continues unfolding. The boundary does not separate reality from nothingness. It separates one region of reality from another. This distinction is important because human intuition often associates inaccessibility with absence. When something cannot be reached, it becomes tempting to imagine that it no longer matters. The unreachable feels distant not only in space but in significance. The cosmos offers a very different picture. The unreachable universe remains fully alive. Imagine standing on a shoreline while looking toward the ocean horizon. The horizon blocks your view of what lies farther away, but the ocean does not stop there. Waves continue rolling. Storms continue forming. Entire ecosystems continue existing beyond sight. The horizon limits observation. It does not limit existence. The cosmic horizon behaves similarly. The boundary marks the end of contact, not the end of reality. This realization becomes even more profound when we consider the scale involved. The observable universe already contains hundreds of billions of galaxies. Each galaxy contains billions or even trillions of stars. The numbers are so enormous that ordinary language struggles to represent them. Yet the observable universe is not necessarily the entire universe. It is merely the portion from which information has successfully reached us. The distinction changes everything. Imagine opening a window and looking outside. The view visible through the glass represents only a tiny fraction of the world. Cities, mountains, oceans, forests, and entire continents may exist beyond what can be seen through that frame. The observable universe functions in a similar way. It is a window defined by communication. Beyond that window may lie a vastly larger reality. Some cosmological models suggest that the universe could extend far beyond the observable region. Others suggest it may even be spatially infinite. While scientists do not yet know the ultimate size of the cosmos, current evidence provides no reason to believe that reality suddenly stops beyond the horizon. If anything, the evidence points in the opposite direction. Reality continues. The horizon merely prevents access. This means that beyond the last reachable horizon may exist more galaxies than humanity will ever observe, more stars than humanity will ever count, more planets than humanity will ever discover. The accessible universe could represent only a small fraction of total existence, a local chapter within a much larger cosmic story. The idea becomes even more fascinating when we think about history. Every galaxy possesses its own timeline. Stars are born, stars die. New planetary systems emerge. Gravitational interactions reshape entire structures over billions of years. Beyond the final horizon, those histories continue independently. Events occur there that will never influence Earth. Galaxies collide beyond our reach. Stars explode beyond our reach. Entire cosmic civilizations could theoretically rise and vanish beyond our reach. The possibility remains because physical law places no restriction on what can happen there. The restriction applies only to contact. This is one of the strangest aspects of the final boundary. It does not stop reality from unfolding. It only stops participation. The universe beyond the horizon remains part of existence, while becoming permanently disconnected from our future. Imagine reading a novel while knowing that additional chapters exist but can never be opened. The story continues. Characters continue acting. Events continue unfolding, yet none of it can enter your experience. The inaccessible universe resembles those hidden chapters. Reality keeps writing itself. We simply lose the ability to read further. Another remarkable consequence emerges when we consider the age of the universe. Human civilization occupies only a tiny fraction of cosmic history. The stars visible tonight existed long before human beings appeared. Many will continue shining long after humanity disappears. Beyond the reachable horizon, time continues as well. Entire futures unfold there. Future galaxies evolve. Future stars form. Future worlds emerge. The cosmic story proceeds without interruption. The horizon does not pause the narrative. It merely separates it from us. The deeper implication is difficult to ignore. Human beings naturally imagine themselves near the center of their experience. We interpret reality through the information available to us. The observable universe feels enormous because it contains everything we can currently study. The final horizon reminds us that observation and existence are not the same thing. Reality does not depend on being observed. Reality does not depend on participation. Reality continues, regardless of whether any signal ever reaches Earth. This may be one of the most humbling discoveries in all of science. The universe is larger than interaction, larger than communication, larger than exploration, larger than experience itself. Beyond the final horizon stretches an immense realm that remains completely indifferent to whether we ever learn about it. Galaxies continue their journeys. Stars continue their life cycles. Time continues carrying events forward. The cosmos remains active far beyond the limits of contact. The most extraordinary realization of all is that these unreachable regions are not separate realities. They are not alternate universes. They are not hidden dimensions existing outside our cosmos. They belong to the same universe. The same physical laws connect them. The same cosmic history produced them. The same Big Bang contributed to their existence. yet they remain forever beyond participation. The universe contains more than any observer can access, more than any civilization can explore, more than any future journey can reach. And this leads directly to the final revelation hidden within the cosmic boundary, because if reality continues far beyond the last reachable horizon, then perhaps the most astonishing fact is not that some regions are inaccessible. The most astonishing fact is that most of existence may already lie beyond our reach. Most of the universe may already belong to a realm that no traveler, no message, and no future discovery will ever touch. A realm that continues expanding while carrying countless galaxies forever beyond the possibility of contact. Throughout this journey, we have followed an idea that becomes increasingly difficult to ignore. The universe is not merely large, it is not merely expanding, it is not merely filled with distant galaxies separated by unimaginable distances. The deeper we look, the more we encounter a realization that challenges one of humanity's oldest assumptions about reality itself. The assumption is simple: if something exists, then it remains part of a future that could eventually include us. The universe appears to disagree, and nowhere is that disagreement more dramatic than in the possibility that most of reality is already beyond our reach. This statement sounds exaggerated. After all, humanity can observe enormous portions of the cosmos. Modern telescopes reveal galaxies billions of light years away. Instruments detect radiation that has traveled across almost the entire age of the observable universe. Scientific knowledge extends farther into space than any civilization in history could have imagined. Compared to the scale of everyday life, the observable universe feels almost infinite. Yet cosmology forces us to ask a more uncomfortable question. What if the observable universe is only a small fraction of what actually exists? And what if a large portion of that greater reality is already permanently disconnected from us? The answer emerges from the same principle that has appeared throughout every lesson in this exploration. Expansion changes relationships, not only between galaxies, not only between clusters of galaxies, between entire regions of existence. Human intuition often imagines the universe as a collection of locations. There are stars, planets, galaxies, and vast stretches of space between them. Distance appears to be the primary challenge. The deeper reality is more subtle. The universe is not simply a collection of places. It is a network of connections. Every observation depends upon those connections. Every measurement depends upon those connections. Every piece of knowledge humanity possesses about the cosmos depends upon information successfully traveling from one region to another. The observable universe is not defined by what exists. It is defined by what remains connected. This distinction changes everything. Imagine standing inside an enormous city at night. Streetlights illuminate a small portion of the landscape around you. Buildings stretch beyond the visible area. Roads continue into darkness. Entire neighborhoods exist outside your field of view. The city is larger than what you can see. Now imagine something stranger. Imagine that the city itself continuously expands while the lights remain limited. More and more of the city slips beyond illumination. The unseen regions grow larger. The visible region becomes a smaller fraction of the whole. The city continues to exist. Your access to it diminishes. This image captures something important about the universe. Reality may extend far beyond the regions capable of communicating with us, and every moment, expansion strengthens that separation. One of the most remarkable consequences of modern cosmology is that galaxies are not simply far away. Many are moving toward permanent isolation. Their future light will never arrive. Their future events will never affect us. Their future histories will never become part of our experience. The galaxies themselves remain. The connection disappears. This means that the universe contains regions that are effectively lost long before they stop existing. The word lost requires careful understanding here. Lost does not mean destroyed. Lost does not mean erased. Lost does not mean removed from reality. It means removed from participation. A galaxy becomes lost when no future exchange of information remains possible. A region becomes lost when no future traveler can arrive. A portion of the cosmos becomes lost when its history no longer intersects with ours. The universe contains countless examples of this process. Every year, expansion increases the separation between distant regions. Every century strengthens the divide. Every billion years enlarges the inaccessible domain. Reality continuously creates additional territory beyond contact. This realization becomes even more profound when we think about the observable universe itself. The observable universe contains hundreds of billions of galaxies. The numbers are so enormous that they seem to exhaust imagination. Yet many cosmological models suggest that the observable universe may be only a small part of the total cosmos. Some models allow for a universe vastly larger than the observable region. Some allow for a universe extending indefinitely. Regardless of which model ultimately proves correct, one conclusion remains striking. The portion of reality capable of interacting with us may be dramatically smaller than the portion that exists. In other words, most of reality may already belong to regions beyond communication. Most of reality may already occupy futures disconnected from ours. Most of reality may already be lost. This possibility challenges the way human beings normally think about significance. People often assume that what matters is what can be experienced. The observable universe feels important because it can be studied. Telescopes can examine it. Theories can describe it. Information can arrive from it. The final boundary reveals that existence does not organize itself around human access. Reality remains indifferent to observation. Reality continues whether contact exists or not. Entire galaxies can spend trillions of years evolving beyond every possibility of interaction. Stars can form and die beyond every future exchange of information. Planetary systems can emerge beyond every conceivable journey. The universe loses none of its richness simply because we cannot reach it. This may be one of the most humbling discoveries in all of science. Humanity occupies a connected island inside a much larger sea of existence. The island feels vast because the observable universe is vast. Yet beyond that island stretches an immense domain that remains forever beyond participation. A domain where cosmic history unfolds independently. A domain where future events continue without ever becoming part of our story. Another remarkable consequence emerges when we think about time. The process is not finished. The separation continues growing. More galaxies become inaccessible. More regions drift beyond communication. The accessible universe gradually becomes a smaller fraction of total existence. Reality does not stand still while observers study it. Reality continuously expands beyond them. Imagine reading a book whose pages multiply faster than you can turn them. Every chapter completed reveals additional chapters. Every section understood is accompanied by new sections beyond reach. The book grows faster than understanding. The universe appears to behave in a similar way. Expansion continuously creates more separation than observation can overcome. The cosmos remains larger than access, larger than exploration, larger than communication, larger than participation itself. Perhaps this is the deepest lesson hidden within the final boundary. The universe is not simply a place waiting to be explored completely. It is a reality that exceeds every possible attempt at complete access. No civilization will ever stand everywhere. No observer will ever witness everything. No network of journeys will ever connect all regions of existence. The cosmos contains more than can be reached, more than can be influenced, more than can be known through direct contact. And that means the final boundary is not merely a line in space. It is a revelation about the nature of reality itself, a revelation that tells us something extraordinary. The greatest part of existence may already lie beyond our future, beyond our communication, beyond our exploration, beyond our influence. Not because the universe is hostile, not because the universe is hiding, but because the structure of space-time naturally creates regions that drift forever beyond contact. The galaxies continue shining, the stars continue burning, history continues unfolding, reality continues becoming more than any observer can ever experience. And somewhere beyond the final horizon, beyond the last message that can ever arrive, beyond the last destination any traveler could ever reach, the larger universe continues its journey in silence, not absent, not destroyed, simply beyond. Beyond access, beyond contact, beyond every path that could ever lead from here. And that may be the most astonishing discovery of all, that the universe is not defined by what we can reach, but by how much of it forever remains beyond our grasp. The final boundary is not simply the end of a journey, it is the point where the universe reveals a truth that is easy to overlook. Existence is not defined only by what can be reached, observed, or explored. Far beyond the last accessible horizon, reality continues without interruption. Galaxies move through darkness, stars are born and vanish, and entire chapters of cosmic history unfold forever beyond contact. The existence of such a boundary reminds us that the universe is not an open map waiting to be completed. It is a vast and unfinished mystery, containing regions that will remain forever beyond our influence. And while we may never cross that final line, its presence tells us something extraordinary. The greatest part of reality may exist where no traveler can ever go.